Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Lang Mini Studios, and Chase, better known as Kilk, as we talk about Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop gaming. No.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to like the fight
I
itself
do have
yet.
one other question before we get to the fight, though. What did you guys think as players about the revelation that the tapestries of fate are being rewoven by the Dorns?
I think it's cool as hell.
I like the idea. I will say I think that how much weight am I going to put that on that considering what happened the last time?
Exactly.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, we're weaving tapestries against, you were wrong last time about calamity ending everything. Like, get out of here. We got other stuff to do.
And that's where what Merrick uses justification is, Ragnarok supposedly happened 400 years ago. Some gods were supposed to die, some weren't. Well, some of those gods survived, some of those gods didn't. And this was a god war that almost destroyed the world. The humanity, the Midgard, had very little to do with starting that war, but Midgard definitely felt the repercussions of that war.
90% of the world's population died in
Yeah,
the first Ragnarok.
so 90% of the world's population died because the gods had a fight. Why would I want to have that? Why would Merrick want to worship or be beholden to people that did that? Yeah, you may be a god, but I'm not going to bow down and do whatever because you almost destroyed the world. If you want to go have a god war, go do it in Asgard, go do it in Vanaheim, go do it over there. Don't do it over here when humanity or Midgard can't do anything about it except for super powerful heroes coming up and telling you to screw off, which is what happened. So that right there proves that Midgard or mortals had the power to fight against the gods, and the gods weren't all powerful. So screw you guys. Why would I want you then? So yeah, so with the tapestry, the old tapestry being destroyed and a new tapestry being written, I think it's really cool because it shows that fate can be altered. That just because someone had a vision of what's going to happen 400 years from now doesn't mean it's set in stone. Because I like the idea that knowledge of the future inherently changes it. Because you change what you do in response to that. So, but that also could lead to like self-fulfilling prophecies or whatever. It adds to that player agency, in my opinion.
So after a fateful decision from Rama, the fight in the chamber finally happened. You guys had got to that final chamber in a very fiery and intense battle. I went out to the local craft store and found that day and found that circular pedestal thing that was on sale, and it just hit me. And so I spray painted it real quick, then slap the grid on it from our Tomb of Horrors one shots from conventions, and then to represent basically this floating thing that had always been in my mind for, God, we're on session 60 now, so it'd been in there almost the entire campaign of where the spark chamber would be, or at least when it got mentioned initially, what to do there. When I described it, basically you guys were in the center of the volcano, and that I'm not quite sure what the technical geographical term for the lava chamber or vent.
Well, yeah, we were deep in the throat of the volcano, right above the. Yeah.
I explained you guys were a little over 1,000 feet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it'd be basically a full round if you guys had been pushed off and then fallen to lava.
And then we golemed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It also set up, like, in my mind, if you guys would have got knocked off and somebody jumped in after the person and did some spell stuff, it would add some, like, role playing thing of like rescue you, fly back up,
Mm-hmm.
which I think initially happened to Silvera. She's the one that got knocked off initially because
Oh yeah,
you guys start fighting the golem with two motes of fire on either side and fire elementals popping out left
yeah.
and right.
Freaking fire elemental ads. Ugh.
But she gets blown back. Everybody else survives. She gets blown back. She casts
Fly.
well, because she's a Heldozi. She does the glide. Sorry,
Oh yeah, the glide. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she does the glide, which is kind of like Featherfall, ironically. But then she's able to cast fly on herself and fly basically back up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
she
that
saved herself.
saves
Yeah.
her. This boss fight would have been a lot more wrecking if it wasn't for ironically a very, very well placed globe of invulnerability by Toy Bar.
Yeah, that was an awesome use of a spell. Good job, man.
I didn't even know that was going to work when I cast it, to be completely honest with you.
I had to go back throughout that fight and read it twice just to make sure of, oh, this thing basically can spam fireballs, lightning bolts, and this arcane beam thing that just was a Godzilla basically breath.
Yes.
It can basically almost spam those each of its turns or its legendary actions, and that globe of invulnerability, just as long as all the groups within it, except for Merrick, who's holding his own once again.
Well, because tank's got a tank.
Yeah, he's tanking, but you basically save the group from really getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
the cool thing about that spell is that it's based the damage, the spell negation that it has is based off of the initial level of the spell. So if it's like a level 3 spell or below, it's all the damage just gets negated, even if you upcast it to level 9. Because it's a level 3 spell or below. And it's specifically worded that way to make it that way. So I guess I just got lucky when Nathan, he was casting level 5 spells, but they were upcasted
Yeah.
versions of their lower level selves. So it just happened to work out that way. And for anybody out there, I knew nothing about this fight walking into it. Nathan and I do talk a lot about the lore and everything very, very often, like every conversation that we have. But I knew absolutely nothing about this fight walking into it. So it was honestly just one of those moments where I thought that, hey, hopefully a lot of magic doesn't come this way, and my one round of attacks probably isn't going to do too much. Let's see what I can do. And I just threw the orb up. And as a player, it was let's see what it can and can't block in this fight, right? Because then I know what is and isn't a problem. So that was kind of the way that I took it.
Yeah, and I basically had designed it to just spam all the classic spells of lightning bolt, firebolt, or
Yeah.
fireball,
Fireball. Yeah.
and they're all level 3s to force. And I think you cast whatever level it was that stopped level 5s or below.
Even at its base level, it stops 5s.
Oh wow.
And that's it. I can't upcast it.
So I think the
Like I
only
can't upcast it to stop 9s, I don't think.
thing that was blasting through it then was the arcane beam, because that was just an arcane bleh, like vomit thing, if I remember
Let's
right.
see. Okay, so I guess it does. It says an immobile, faintly shimmering barrier springs into existence in a 10-foot radius around you and remains for the duration. Any spell 5th level or lower cast from outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is cast using a higher level spell slot. Such a spell can target creatures and objects within the barrier, but the spell has no effect on them. Similarly, the area within the barrier is excluded from the areas of effects by such spell. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 7th level or higher, the barrier blocks 1 level spell higher for each slot above 6th.
Oh dang.
Nice.
Okay.
But I only had the 6th level spell slot, I think. I didn't have any 7th level spell slots left. I don't believe. Maybe I did. No, this was at the beginning, so I would have because we just long
Yeah.
rested.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just cast it because I figured, let's see what happens. What can it block?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good decision.
The fight though was still even tough
It's
with
still
that.
hard.
It was still a hard fight, and it would have been a very deadly up and down fight, even with that spell. But it definitely it changed the course of battle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It
Yeah,
turned
it was still a exceptionally hard fight.
as a player though, Brent. How did it feel? Because we talked about this in a previous episode too, of why the golem was doing it, to watch your character get knocked prone and literally stomped on repeatedly because it was getting irritated. That you didn't want to basically stay down like the bad insect that it was trying to swat you into submission of being.
I thought it was fantastic. It's a very create a very like visual image of, you know, you're in the throat of this volcano. There's like oppressive heat everywhere. There's fire elementals being summoned. You've got super high tier magic being cast, and a golem that's 3 times your size like running around. And it is just so mad that your character won't stay down that it just starts stomping on you like you're a bug or a cigarette butt that just will not go out. It was a comedic beat for me in like this super, you know, one of the high points, one of the plot points of the whole campaign. Super, you know, deadly fight, but it just added like that just a little bit of comedy to a very serious situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
It very much felt like a little bit of a, not a callback, but the same type of beat where basically the Hulk just like beat the crap out of Loki at the very
Yeah.
first end of the Avengers movie.
Yeah, it's like I am a god. He just grabs his cape and just boof, 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 boof. Puny god. Yeah, kind of the same thing. Yeah.
But like you even were casting like shield and just like it was holding it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did because I had Shield of Faith active, and then I was holding on to the reaction spell Shield because just in case it still hit, but was still within that little bit. And luckily, you were rolling good, but as far as I was concerned, mediocre, to where I was still able to use shield every once in a while to stop it. And I was burning through those spell slots every freaking like
Turn.
minute. Like
Yeah.
every time my turn came around, I knew don't burn these spell slots because you're gonna need them later. And so yeah, I was. Go ahead.
I was very happy that the way this fight played out. It was
Oh
it was
yeah.
really hard. The fact that it allowed, and you hear this talked about, I would say a lot in other content out there in D&D from a lot of other creators, is this fight allowed individuals to shine in their individual moments,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Toy Bar being able to do the globe, you know, Merrick looking at the situation, realizing I'm just going to run out there so that it can't get in the globe to cast things, and be that dude that's going to sit there and we're going to hold each other, the back of each other's heads and just punch each other and be tanky and take those hits, giving the rest of the party to figure out how to get rid of all the little stuff so that we can focus on the big threat.
Yeah, because that's what I was going in, is like try to give the party some breathing room and not necessarily focus on damage, but just focus on survivability. Because that's what you guys needed more than another damage dealer. Because we had damage taken care of. So,
that was crazy.
Yeah,
there's a lot of damage being thrown around by a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
You had Silvera upcasting chain or lightning bolt because she did not want to chain lightning off creatures, because it says creatures, not enemies, unfortunately.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You had Flint basically playing more of a support role and falling back to healing. You had Rama casting, I believe, Wall of Light.
Yeah, she did.
And then Tove went all offensive with Moonbeam.
Mhm.
Is it Moonbeam that's basically the giant pillar of radiant light that comes down almost like basically like a comedic spotlight?
Yeah, that was, yep.
I think I described it. I think only half the group seen it, but that opening credit scene to Mr. Bean where he falls basically down from the spotlight onto the street and just that big bright light.
Rama also used her Kieran in that fight, and that's when we realized how strong that Kieran can be with its
Yeah,
passive AoE healing
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
and
When it
stuff
gets to
like
that
that. Like,
level, yeah.
it's really cool.
I'm glad you guys got to see when I was because you wanted to basically take summon aberration but have it be a radiant being, and then when I
Yes,
designed that reflavored that spell, I'm like, well, this is a perfect time. She's at this level. Earlier in the campaign she'd run into Damodral and then ran into basically kind of like not his avatar but one of his well it's comedic just because of what's going to happen here in a little while when we explain it, but like the voice of Damodral is a Kieran. So she has basically this juvenile Kieran, and I added a couple of little mechanic tweaks into it, like it instead of her having to focus on healing or Flint if he's there, whoever's there, it can be just like popped down in the middle of the group as basically almost like a citronella candle of healing, and then they can just shoot out.
Citronella candle.
I don't know how else to describe
No,
it.
I like it. Yeah, it's like oh, what was it? Here's a Febreze mister of healing.
Yeah.
There we go.
This nice little area of effective
Yeah.
healing, and it takes a little bit more pressure off, our Radiant Warlock, who can now cast more offensive spells instead of like, well, I'm worried that I have to go heal them within this next round or they're going down, and then that thing's definitely coming after me next.
Yeah. Stop. Protect the meat shield.
Because that's happened at least a half a dozen times where she wants to do something, but she knows she has to heal you in order to hold the line.
Yep.
And so that Kieran kind of alleviates that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The group did fight to like the bitter end, and like you were saying, like everyone got a chance to shine. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
Everyone ended up taking a bit of damage by the end. I think the globe did the globe
did fall.
That's right, it did because the fire elementals ended up getting through.
I got stomped. I got stomped by the boss.
Oh
and
yeah,
it broke my concentration.
Yeah, because Merrick
It
was
eventually
the first,
broke through the Merrick wall.
Yeah, Merrick eventually went down, and then it stepped over him, and it went to the globe, and it broke the globe. Yeah.
Everyone went down except by the end, it was just Rama and Flint.
And it had to be Flint. It had to be. The one guy that is so like head over heels behind Rama being a goddess, and he's drinking that Kool-Aid, and it had to be him.
And then at that point, unfortunately, Vicky had to leave early, even though it's one of the biggest fights of the campaign, just because she's a good mom and she had to go.
Family stuff.
She had to take our son to work.
Yeah.
Family comes first.
Family always comes first with our groups because we're old and responsible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we ain't gonna give her crap because we're
No,
not
of course
20
not.
and we're not 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, go take care of your son, that's important.
It led with Rama be flying up, controlled by you, Chase or Toy Bar, and then blasting its head off. And then we left off the session with everyone kind of being halfway healed, and then her touching the crystal and then disappearing.
Yeah, because didn't you send her a message like asking her like, "Hey, the fight's over. What do you want to do?" or something like that?
Yeah. So for the final hit, I had her kind of Goku style it. Right?
Yeah.
With the Eldritch Blast, flew up into its face and shot one of its faces point blank.
I'm so glad I recognized that. That's actually what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, you're going Dragon Ball Z
You're
with
going
this.
Dragon Ball Kamehameha right to the
because she'd already used her ability to give her the wings and give her all this extra damage and all this other stuff. And So I was like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fun. It was a little for a cool story plot of having um Flintstone alive with her in the end.
Yeah,
That was great.
yeah, it's definitely one of those literary moments, like those where it's of everybody. It made perfect, yeah, like sense.
Because we'd found out, right, that that's what he wanted. He wanted to be her. Well, Toy Bar had.
Toy
Yeah.
I
Bar
don't know if I'd
had,
shared it or not.
you hadn't shared it yet, but basically you'd read after the 3 doors, you'd done detect thoughts, and then it had landed
On
on
accident. to be
on
fair.
accident because you surged,
Yeah, I searched.
and then you just random. I'm like, choose a random party member, and then you ended up because I don't think you wanted to pry into like an actual character's mind or anyone at the tables. You're like, I just
I think it says whoever the closest one was or something to me.
oh, it might have been. Then it was Flint.
I'd have to look at my table, right? Because there's 300 options on that thing.
Yeah,
But the thing, and a couple of people had noticed, and I think you guys had asked me like away from the table. I'm like, why is Flint being so unusually nice to Rama? And that was the point. And I go, there's a reason behind it. I don't want to actually reveal it. I even said that to you at work one time because I think you had asked. And that was the point where you found out that basically he wants to become basically her the voice of Rama or the X-art of Rama. He wants to be her skull,
Right.
the one that tells her rise into divinity.
and which is appropriate because he was the only one conscious to watch her claim divinity.
Yeah,
Because he's the only one to witness her touching the spark. Everybody else is down.
yeah.
So
He's also, one of the most powerful bards in existence.
Yep. He
To
is
be
actually
fair,
he's one of the top
to
3
give him his
bards.
props.
He's like a top 5 bard in all of existence in history now.
He's fought Odin now multiple times.
broken into 2 of his vaults. Yeah.
2 of his vaults.
Prison by Odin in his astral prison, his personal one.
And
like,
broke out.
Like it's so funny that he's so goofy, and he reminds me a lot of Tom Bombadil.
Minus having like metaphors to being God.
Right, but like he just does what he wants. He does some crazy kooky stuff, and he's really strong, and he's just like doing what he wants, running around.
Hey, side note for any of the Lord of the Rings fans, if you are by chance married to the gorgeous, very voluptuous personification of summer like Tom Bombadil was, good on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good on you.
Back to the point though. I guess back to the story. So she claims this spark. Everyone kind of gets raised up. Everybody is screwed up.
Yeah, we're not dead, but we're definitely feeling like we had a fight.
Tove fell down for the 2nd time this campaign in just a couple of sessions.
Mm-hmm.
She got her 2nd only lingering injury.
Yep.
She did do a mass cure wounds, I think, to kind of just.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Everybody has lingering injuries, go away.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Because she upcasted it.
She did. Yeah, she upcast it to
like 5th level.
Well, I've got her spell
enough to basically get rid of everyone's lingering injuries.
Yeah, she upcast it to 5th. Yeah. Yep. I have her spell sheets right here.
But only a couple of moments later, after Rama vanished, because you guys wake up and she's gone, and then she reappears shortly right after.
Yeah. For her,
it was just a split second.
Yeah, it was a split second. For us, it was like a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it was like I explained to her the best metaphor I could come with it. This is like a camera flash for you.
Mm-hmm. So now the question is, what happened in that couple of minutes?
And that's up to her to if she wants to discover what. I have a side thing written if she wants to discover it. If not, it's one of those mysteries. Was she basically just downloading?
Downloading, yeah. Installing firmware.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's awesome.
Hey, Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.